Well, you are in the right place with the right human being here to bring them all in, to invite them all in for you, because he also happens to be a little magical. We know that to be true. He's one of my favorite, not only favorite speakers, he's one of my favorite human beings in the world. I'm so happy to call him friend. Always entertaining, always fun, Chris Valentine. Chris, along with being a powerful nature communicator, is also an author, a television personality, a host, a writer, director, and executive producer of 4 television series. He is not busy at all. He needs a job. If anybody knows anything, let him know.
I'm hiring you.
Chris is the co-author of several best-selling books on nature spirits, A Gnome Story, Seeing and Sensing Gnomes, The Magic of Gnomes and Leprechauns, and the newest book, Magical Powers and Mystical Beings. Chris knows firsthand that gnomes, elves, leprechauns, and fairies can change your life for the better. And he speaks all over the country, teaching people his fascinating methods on how to see, sense, feel, and talk with them. Today, Chris will go on a powerful and always entertaining journey with us to explore archangels, clairvoyance, and our path. Who's ready?
Yeah.
I'm always ready for Chris. Here he is, Chris Valentine.
Thank you so much, Barbara. That is such a fantastic opening. So it is, yes, all about you guys now. We are going to focus on things that you want to talk about, such as how to attract a soulmate, how to get on your path, how to develop your psychic skills. Somebody asked me about star seeds. We can do that. We can talk about nature spirits, maybe a little peptides. I'm not really supposed to, but maybe. But that's a whole other thing that somebody talked about, asked me about. A few people asked me about today as well. But basically, my name is Chris Valentine. What I'm going to do is infuse a little bit about Dr. Von Lahr, who's in the first booth, some of you saw, who's doing sessions, to explain how these things work, especially how to attract a soulmate into your life, and possibly if you guys want to learn how a health scan works, I'm going to use him as an example because he is one of the best. So I'll open a little bit with him, but feel free to ask questions on any topic of spirituality or metaphysics during the 50 minutes. It goes by really fast. I think we start a little bit late, so maybe 45 minutes or so. And we'll go into that more depth. So it's based on what you guys want to learn today, and that's why every lecture I do is different. So welcome, and Dr. Von Lahr is who I'm going to start with, who you may have seen in the first booth when you come in every single time. We're somewhere every weekend in Southern California usually, and Northern California, Arizona, and Nevada. He is one of the nation's top psychic mediums. Many of you have heard of him on Coast to Coast with George Norrie, as well as all the other hosts of Coast to Coast, and his own television show, Messenger, which you can also watch on YouTube. So, when you are getting a reading with him, and by the way, you'll see a lot of couples and families sitting together if you want to share an hour. He also can do it private, or you can have a friend listen. It's whatever you want. But basically, if you watch him in action, he is non-stop talking. So what he is doing is channeling the information. So when your body gets next to his, he starts telling you what you most need to hear. So it's not really a type of entertainment. It is called a problems, solutions orientated clairvoyant mediumship session. Meaning anything that comes up during the session, he will take care of. We had actually a few people come today and said, I'm too scared to get a reading. And I always say, you don't have to be afraid with a reading with him, because it is not fear-based. And anything that does come up during the session, he will solve. So when you leave that booth, you're better off than when you came in. And I will tell you, we have people that come every single weekend. He's the only one that I know that does this every single weekend for the past 36 years. He's been doing this, by the way, for over 55 years. Born with the gift, seeing spirits as a little boy. That is why he teaches those classes, which you can grab a brochure if you want. We can also talk about the classes today too as well, some of the upcoming ones if you want to learn how to develop your skills more in person. Those are at the Burbank Airport Marriott Hotel, which is fairly close to here. I think it's like about, 45-minute drive or so, or 40 minutes. We have people that come from all over the world there. If they are flying in, which many people do, And it's right there at the Burbank Airport Marriott, so you don't need a car. For those of you guys watching online as well, as far as Asia, we have people coming into the next class, which is called MIT, or medical class. So it is always Saturday, Sunday. It is always in person only because it is so experiential. The next class, by the way, is the medical one, which we haven't done in 5 years. We have done it 5 times though, so we know it works. It is very refined now with exercises we know work. It is for beginners, by the way. You could see absolutely nothing. And we take you from the ground floor up within the first hour or so, how to be clairvoyant. A lot of people today ask me, what does clairvoyant mean? That means clear seeing. It is one of the highest clairs. He has all the clairs. When you get a reading with somebody, usually they're operating from clairsentience, which is great. You feel. A lot of people don't know who to get a reading with when they come in, and I tell them, walk around the expo, see where you're drawn, feel your way around. We all have that gift. It's a lower level gift, but as you learn to develop your skills, they go up. So you start hearing messages, you start seeing. Claircognizance is you get messages in your head, downloads, things like that. When he used to work in the computer consulting, he was a child prodigy, bringing computers all around the world. They would ask him to speak without any notice at some of these big conventions, and he would just be able to do that on any topic. And the reason for that is it's called claircognizance, where you get a download a day or two before you need answers for somebody, like you guys coming to see him. Also, he has a Senate standing behind him, which is many, many guides. We had a gentleman last week that said he has a Senate behind him, and I says, oh my gosh, Dr. Von Lahr does too. He is on a wizard path. He, like many people, not many people, it's actually rare, are on a path of wizard, prophet, or ascended master. That is our class coming up in December, which is quite, just about full. We have one spot left opening for that one because somebody says they can't make it, but basically, that is for people that are specifically tied to living forever type of idea. If you look in the Bible, it will tell you this. Mother Mary ascended body and soul. What do you think that means? She took her body with her. They're not going through the incarnation period. They're using their own energy, recreating it, sometimes recreating their look and coming back. Have you guys heard of Saint Germain? Yeah. Excellent. He is a perfect example of somebody who does that. Even if you Wikipedia or Google him, it'll say, Saint Germain, this guy looks like he's living for 200-300 years. Literally, it says that.
Or more.
Or more. Or more. And it is actually more. It's way more. We used to live thousands of years until the aliens messed with our DNA. But we're really not supposed to end at 50, 60, or 80. That's actually when we're just starting to get knowledge. It's not the time to go. So, if you look in the Bible, it says that. If you look on Wikipedia, Google, it will say Saint Germain is working for the Baron, working for people that are usually kings, queens, those type of people. He was developing color, which is the class that Dr. Von Lahr just did, who's associated with these type of people, Apollonius of Tyrana. Now, if you look up Apollonius, there's 3, and they're describing him all 3 times with somebody like me in there. I'm just like amazed when I Google stuff. But these things you can actually see for yourself. So what Saint Germain would do is he would recreate his look. Go into the forest, come back as somebody else, when people started catching on. Wait a minute, this guy's been around forever. So what they do is they just show you a different form of them. And they're using their own energy. It's nothing negative, like you hear in Hollywood, bad things going on there. Basically, you're using your own energy, recreating yourself, so you don't have to go through the incarnation period, like Mother Mary, like Jesus, like Buddha, like Kuan Yin. You've heard of those people? Those prophets, ascended masters, and wizards are all kind of doing the same thing. So, any questions so far? So, when Dr. Von Lahr, you sit down in front of him for the first time, the first thing he does is look off to your right shoulder, which is a specific shade of color. he sees 65 million different shades of color. Every shade means something to him. Most of us see around 200. So that is why he's able to delineate very fast what your career path should be. And some of you are coming up getting a reading soon. So this applies to you, and you'll kind of see it. This is how he's going to work when you sit down in front of him. It is why he does not need to ask you questions when you sit down in front of him. By looking at that color first, which is a very specific shade of color, he can tell why you're here, what you're meant to be doing. Some people are finishing a career later in life and they want to know what's next. Or they really don't want to work anymore, but they want to know what their hobbies are and want to go back to that. That is all tied to your career path, life purpose. Your life purpose is just a delineation of what you choose to do on your life path. So that is a great start to the session. When you are doing that with him, and he starts telling you this, say yes if it is resonating with you. The reason for that is your archangel is listening to you. Your archangel, and I'm sure this gentleman remembers from my lecture I did a few weeks ago, your archangel cares about only one thing. Does anybody know what that is? And you can speak up again if you want. It's the title of this lecture. Are you on your path? That is all the archangel cares about. Why? Because that is all you agreed to when you came here. So, if when Dr. Von Lahr is telling you your life path and it resonates with you, say yes. Your archangel is making a contract with you at that point and can flip your life overnight to the positive in all areas. Why? Because they want to support you on your path. If you agree this is why I'm here, this is the only thing that really matters, then let's support you. You need a soulmate to be on your path? Done. You need a check for $50,000 to be on your path? Done. Whatever it is you need, they will provide. So that is a great start. It's called getting a wish also, is what he would tell you. Your archangel is going to give you a wish or wishes. Because if this is what you agree to, why you're here, then let's support you. And so they will usually grant you a wish. Like a genie. Same idea. Any questions so far? So Dr. Von Lahr, speaking of path, is going to see your archangel standing behind you, of course. Now, he is the only one in the world that I know of that have come up with a specific pattern of where the archangels stand behind you. So some of you, while I'm speaking today, will see guides, people, nature spirits maybe on my shoulders, things like that. Like Barbara was saying when she introduced me, we have gone to almost all 50 states teaching you how to see nature spirits right here in lectures just like this. So if you start to see that, raise your hand and say something. Don't wait till after the lecture, especially with Dr. Von Lahr. If you go out and watch him, some of you are seeing energy already and auras. That is one of the first things you should start learning if you want to progress your psychic development skills. Does that make sense? Energy is how you usually want to start. So some of you are already doing that. So if you watch him, by the way, in action, you will see a purple glow around him. That is a very high spiritual color. It represents connection to the heavenly plane, which is also known as the cosmic superhighway, or I like to say the good aliens communicate as well. It's frequency, vibration, and color. God communicates also through sacred geometry. When you're starting out, color, which is energy, which you can practice seeing auras. And as you go higher, becomes frequency and vibration. One of the classes we just finished out was called vibration. So when you get higher up, and you're starting to communicate with maybe aliens, for example, that is how they communicate. It's a resonance and a vibration. We're all sending that out with our thoughts anyways, but as we get higher, that's how they're communicating. Any questions so far? Excellent. So when he starts, he sees your archangel standing behind you and your master guide, both of which are with you life after life. They know why you're here this time around. They know what you're trying to accomplish. That's what he starts with. When he tells you your archangel, and some of you know your archangel, I'm kind of surprised. You kind of feel like, I think it's Archangel Michael, who, by the way, is one of the hardest archangels. because he demands virtue and things like that, which you're going to get the opposite in life. So I always think of during virtue when that comes up, because that was her archangel. And boy, was she challenged in relationships and honesty and truth and virtue. She's also, by the way, speaking of archangels, the first one that came up with the colors associated with the archangel. So remember, I said he's the first one to come up with a pattern of where they stand behind you. They also resonate a color. So if you see an archangel standing in a certain spot behind somebody with a certain color, you can tell who the archangel is for that person. And if you are psychic, and some of you are very psychic, you will have 2 archangels standing behind you, or more, as well as if you have a Senate, he's going to see a whole bunch of people. A teacher guide is somebody a little bit different who comes in during your life in a specific time to teach you something. So a perfect example of that is, say you're becoming a doctor, you're going to medical school, you will have crossed over doctors that will come in and help you during that process. Once you learn everything you need to learn, they will go away. So teacher guides don't stay forever. A master guide is with you for all your lifetimes. That is very specific and high because that master guide has gone through everything you could possibly go through. That is why they're with you for the whole lifetime. Your archangel is somebody you chose at the very beginning when you decided, do I want to be an angel or a human? When you get on that track to become a human, it's hard. You can't get off the roller coaster once the seatbelt lock comes down. So it is cray-cray, but you are learning experiences that the angels are just sitting by watching like, oh my gosh, she's going to do that. But basically, angels are listening to God. Whatever God says, they just do it. They don't question it. They don't have ego. If you see an angel in your garden, which I have, they are, like many people have said in the books, broadcasting. They're usually broadcasting to many people, but they don't really move, and it's the same message over and over. You can go away and come back 6 hours later, the angel's still standing there in a whitish, usually a whitish light blue color, broadcasting the same message. You can also call on them and say, I need help right now. They will come very fast, but they tend not to stay very long. They just were there, anybody can call on them, but they're there for everybody. So they're there usually for a few seconds if you call on them and you really need their help. And then they go away. Your master guide is with you all the time, as is your guardian angel, which is a part of the topic of this lecture as well. People have asked me, what is the difference between an archangel and a guardian angel? Does anybody think they know? Okay, well, I'm going to tell you. So a guardian angel is somebody who comes in visibly and only very rarely if you have a near-death experience. Meaning, it is not really your time to go. So the guardian angel will come in to protect you to make sure, if it's not your time to go, that you stay alive. A great example of that is, say you're going into surgery at the hospital, you're under anesthesia, you're totally at the mercy of the doctor and the nurses and everything going on. They will come in to make sure you get through that surgery. And once they do that, then they do become visible to you. Otherwise, most people will never see their guardian angel. A guardian angel, though, will come in that light, very light color of white or a lightish blue white, like an angel. And now people usually say they see them standing at the foot of their bed at night. That would be a guardian angel. Otherwise, most people will never see them. An archangel will come in bright colors. And if you know the color associated, during Virtue actually did a book on this. She actually got it almost exactly correct. A little difference between Archangel Raphael and Archangel Gabriel. I think she said Gabriel was green and Raphael blue, or something like that, vice versa. But actually, Archangel Raphael, who is the healing archangel, I think she made him green, is actually a little bit more to the light blue side. And he has told us the reason his color is more of a light blue, he represents wisdom more than health and healing, though you can call on him for that. But he said, If we have the wisdom, we don't need the healing in the first place. We have perfect health if we're at that level. So I thought that was a nice tie-in. Any questions so far on any topic? Yes?
You mentioned that you saw an angel in your garden.
Yes.
Can you talk about what you saw, what it looked like, and what they said or didn't say?
Absolutely. So basically when we started out, we did a connection with nature spirits first, which is the easiest way to start, because you don't have to be a clairvoyant to see them. They're right here on the physical plane with us. They're just a half dimension away. So we did certain things to call them in. We associated that with the elements which they're connected with: earth, air, fire, and wind. Now, he had never seen them before. I was practicing with my grandmother as a child, so I already kind of was open to the idea that he tried it and he was like stunned, because they come in and we're like, oh my gosh, almost physical the first time you see them. It does take more energy to do that. They have to actually slow down their vibration, and it helps if we raise our vibration a little bit too, to meet halfway. But like I said, you don't have to be a clairvoyant to see them. They're right here on the physical plane. This is the physical plane. When we go to sleep at night is the astral plane, or when people cross over. And then, like I said, the next plane up is the heavenly plane. That's where we go. All religions, no matter which one you follow, recognizes heaven. That would be the next third plane up. Now, angels and archangels are in those higher realms. When you see an angel, like I did, it was more of a white, bluish color, and it doesn't happen very often. Maybe with some people they're more connected to angels. I had a very close association with nature spirits. I have a lot of past lives as them, so we can talk about that. But angels I've only seen once or twice that way. I have seen, though, in the same house that I used to live in that area, we were doing so much communication and spiritual work that I saw ascended masters come in, gods and goddesses come in, and they look, at least they presented themselves very much how they are described in like Roman mythology and Greek mythology. Like Athena would come in. And we were actually, I think at that moment, going through a legal question. She came in, which she represents legality. So she's also the wisdom prophetess or goddess. And she came in with the full spear, the full headdress. I mean, it was detail. So angels, more of a light whitish glow, in my experience, which is how people usually see them. Ascended masters, like Kuan Yin. Every time we do a class in Burbank, Kuan Yin usually comes in, Mother Mary comes in, Jesus comes in, King Solomon, King David we have worked with. If you want to know how Jesus looks, have you seen the Shroud of Turin? That's how he looks. He's very rectangular, almost like, I don't want to say an alien, but he's more rectangular in the way he presents himself. And he looks very similar to the Shroud of Turin. Now, archangels, if you see them, sometimes you'll just see a flash during the day, a bright fluorescent color. And then you can look up the color and say, oh, that was Archangel Gabriel. Who, by the way, all these archangels that I'm talking about, they are gender neutral, like Archangel Gabriel in the Bible even comes in as female or male sometimes. It really doesn't matter at that level. They are basically associated with more of their personality qualities, is why they're characterized as male or female. But that would be very, very bright fluorescent color. Does that answer some of your question? Great, okay. Anybody else? Yes?
Who did you say that wrote the book?
What's that?
Who did you say that wrote the book about the angels?
Doreen Virtue. She is somebody.
Doreen Virtue?
Correct. She is somebody who really got so much right. And she started me on the path of rediscovery. I was in a Barnes & Noble, and there's a whole spirituality section, and I saw this one book at the bottom of the shelf, and it was glowing. And I said, I have to pull that book out. And she's the one that authored it. She also has oracle card decks, which actually I've used this week. I tell people, Dr. Von Lahr does not use card decks when you get a reading with him. It is a high form of clairvoyance and mediumship. Nothing wrong with card decks. I use them myself. I use hers. She has a mermaid oracle card deck, and I'm telling you, it is so accurate. It is so accurate. I just love it. So she's somebody I started with when I was rediscovering and getting back on my path. She's written many books. She's not really focused on this area anymore for whatever reasons, but the first time I came to California, it was to come see her, and we both took her mediumship class, I don't know, 25 years ago. That's how long. We wanted to see how she did it. We took everybody's classes just to see, are we at least at that level when we start doing our classes, or especially him. He's really the master. He's considered a clairvoyant, a medium, and a master, which is meaning there's only 5 at one time on the planet. Each continent gets one. He is the one for North America. So when you see him, it is a stellar session. And like I said, if you watch him, he's basically nonstop talking. You don't really have to do or say anything. So when I get a reading, I expect it to be like that. I'm kind of spoiled, but that's what I expect. I don't want to have to tell you what I need to know. You tell me what my guides want to tell me. But he does want you to feel free to interact with him. He doesn't want to talk for 16 hours. Last time we were here, we stayed till 10:30 at night. He usually will stay till midnight. I think his new cutoff is 10. This particular hotel told him, you guys, you gotta go. It's 10:30 at night, we're closing up. But we usually get permission to stay late. The show officially goes from 10 to 6. You can ask Barbara on the front desk who stays till midnight every weekend. It's usually him. I'm usually the one that locks up all the rooms for the hotels and convention centers. And so people ask, how is Dr. Von Lahr able to do this? Most people do an hour session, or most people do a 15-minute session, whatever, and they are just wiped out after an hour. He goes from early morning, sometimes 8 in the morning till midnight. We did that in Palo Alto not too long ago. We stayed till 12:30 both nights. So it is incredible. But when somebody gets a reading with him, they will usually say, how did you do that? Please teach me. Please mentor me. That is why he started doing the classes. So it's for people like you that want a mentor. It is limited to 10 to 12 people. It is in person only because it is so experiential. His next class is called MIT, which I mentioned, which is the medical class, where he teaches you how to do what he's doing, eyes open, look into the body, get to the top 7 diseases and how to ameliorate them for yourself, for your friends and family, and again for animals. Last time we did it 5 years ago, people in the class want to learn how to help their horses, their dogs, their cats. It's the same method. So that open eye clairvoyance, the first time I took it many years ago, I saw cancer on somebody for the first time, which appears differently than other diseases. It's usually on the outside in specific colors. The lady that had it offered to show because she knew she was just getting over it. And we saw some of the remnants, where usually it's in the lymph node area too. It worked for me, so that's why I really like it. But it is for beginners. The next class wizard is very progressed. He would have to tell you if you're on that track to fit into that. And then the next one is January, I think the 4th weekend of January. It's called Parallel Lives. It is the first time he is teaching that class. I am super excited because I've been waiting forever for this class. Meeting your other 7 selves on planet or off planet. And the reason for that is we can't all get it done just in our one self. We have others doing different things in different countries. And so some of you may have kind of picked up on that, or you see somebody like, I think that's the person just like me, type of thing. So he's actually found one of the persons that is exactly like him, that writes exactly like him. It's a lady somewhere. But it's like, oh my gosh, he's already starting to meet one of his parallel lives. So that's a class coming up in January. That will be 3 weekends, but you could just try the first weekend and see how you like it, see how it works with you. All the classes have a huge booklet included. All class materials are included, really, really nice people. So if you are drawn to a specific class, you can go to christiantour.la, click on any of the classes, and you'll see what you'll learn in them. The parallel lives have like 2 spots left. The medical one has like 1 spot left. So they do fill up. A lot of people in the class like them so much they want to just come back to the next one. So that's why they're almost always sold out before we even announce them. It is a really nice group of people. We're all kind of learning together, so very supportive. Any questions on any topic so far? Yes?
Who was the lady that you mentioned just now?
Well, I'm promoting her a little bit too much. Doreen Virtue. She probably, if she saw this, she'd go, Chris, please don't do that. Because she's on a very specific, you guys know who I'm talking about? Okay, if you do, she's on a different path now where it's very focused on angels. Like, that's it. She, according to her religion, that is what all she's allowed to talk about or wants to do or whatever. And she's free to do whatever she wants. But she was so prolific, she literally had about 100 books. And I would buy every single one and read them. She'd not have one oracle card yet. She'd have dozens, and they were fabulous. So I was very drawn to her when I started out. I found her very helpful. I found her very accurate. She was the first one that did the Archangel book, where she tied the colors to the Archangel. I don't know anybody that did that before. And then Dr. Valentine has taken it even further and knows the pattern, which he teaches in class, where they're located. So when you see them in a specific area, you know who that is. Like Archangel Michael will glow a certain color and be in a certain position. So that's very helpful to know. So that's something that we also teach in the class for beginners, how to see clairvoyantly. That's our sword class, which we just finished up, which takes you from the ground floor up. So we'll be doing that again. We've done that 8 times now, I think. That is phenomenal. But if you're on our newsletter, you'll get upcoming events. We're usually somewhere every weekend. If you want a reading with Dr. Valentine, he does have openings this afternoon, evening, as well as tomorrow. We'll start early in the morning. If you're drawn to a class, you can come by the booth and I'll give you more information on that. Take a brochure, add yourself to the newsletter. Take a picture of the banner. You have all his contact information. His 2 websites, telephone number, email, so you can call or schedule anything at any time. Somebody else have a question? Yeah.
Sorry, can you briefly describe the past lives as an animal that you had? How did you see that? Was it in the past life regression or what?
So past lives is something that he does, that I've gotten 2 past life readings from him. They were each 3 hours long. Very, very detailed. What he does, he has a specific technique known only to him, where he picks up the most important past life or lives that have to do with this life. And it really helps you heal and understand yourself better. In the readings, we do have people, and I forget to tell people he does this. In the readings, you can get a mini little past life. Well, he'll quickly bring it in so it's not a 3-hour thing. Somebody actually paid for me to have those readings, because he doesn't do it for me for free. So even though I ask him every single day, when's this gonna happen? Basically, he does it very professionally. Now that is different than an animal totem. So I would not really combine the 2. We can find out who our animal totems are, which should resonate also with you and very valuable to know, especially tying into your personality traits. That would be different than a past life. So did I mention spirit animals? I don't remember, but definitely that's another thing that he can do. These are great questions, because I don't think of all the things that he does, like past lives is fabulous. And he can do a mini one right there. Say, oh, can you pick up something quick about my past life? Some of you are starseeds. Have you heard of that term? Good. That means, do you want to say what it is?
No.
Do you think you know what it is? Yeah.
Starseed, we from other, not like alien, kind of alien.
You're right.
Other planet to this Earth.
Exactly. A starseed is somebody who's not from Earth, from a different planet. She's 100% right. That is here for a mission.
For the wake up.
The wake up. We need help with something we're not getting. So a lot of you have heard of like Palladians, Syrians, Arcturians. Those would be starseeds. A lot of us are hybrids of different areas. If you get a reading with him, you can also ask him. If you feel you're not from here, he will. We had 2 starseed classes that were so fabulous. Everything he does. Somebody asked about evidential mediumship. This may be tied into that, even though that's a specific term, where he will give you 3 proofs of anything that he tells you. Same with mediumship. When they come in, when they give you a message, there's 3 of how it's correct. There's a lot of depth. With the starseed, he will tell you what constellation you're from, what planet you're from, what your mission is. Most starseeds just can't figure out. They know they're here for a reason, to help us. They just can't figure it out, so he can help you with that. But a starseed is somebody who's not from here. You came here on a mission to help us out. Doesn't mean you're going to come back as a human, but you can incarnate into a human body while you're here, so you're not necessarily an alien. And your master guide, who we see standing behind you when he starts, may look like an alien. And he will tell you. Most people are okay, like they already kind of know. They will say, I'm going to tell you something, I hope it doesn't scare you, but your master guide is not from here. Meaning, everybody in the universe tends to have a torso, but the head could be like a triangle, and that's how he knows. Or the head could be like a bird. That's how he knows your master guide is different than a human, and you're probably from that area too. So yes. Now, animal totems are different, starseeds different, past lives are different, your archangel stays the same no matter what, also life after life. But knowing these things help you know yourself. Like I said in the very beginning, you can look up your archangel after the reading is over and you go, oh my gosh, all those personality traits are me. And that is because you chose that archangel to be on your path, life after life. So if you're on a healing track, you may be a doctor in one life, a nurse in the next, a shaman in the next, working with herbs and natural things. It's all the same path. It's all the same thing. And then you choose the life purpose, which is the delineation of that path, which ties into your career. And then as we get older, we want to retire, but we still are on our path in some way, which could be your hobbies. So good. Did I answer your question? Okay, I don't remember what it is. Anybody else have questions? Yes?
Do you personally see fairies in gnomes?
Yes.
Can you describe what they look like?
Absolutely. So, can we describe what the fairies look like? You know who got it right?
But his books are not available.
Oh yeah, no they are. They're on Amazon. If you ever come to a show and you can call ahead or just tell me, or I can ship them to you, but we have very few left. This gentleman is right. They're almost all gone. Sometimes you go to Amazon and they're like $400 or $500 and they're still not new, they're still used. We have a few left, but if you're interested, definitely, thank you, that was very nice of you. We should get them reprinted by somebody who wants to publish them again, but basically, Walt Disney and his people really got it right. Some of the newer movies, I really think they're reading our books because it's like we're like right out of our books. Now, the 4 books that we channeled, and Dr. Von Lahr is the main channel of our 4 books. I also did on each of the books channeling myself. He's the main channel. What we did was we allowed the nature people to speak for themselves without editing a word of what they said. Now, fairies look very much like Tinkerbell. Usually very small wings, can have 2 wings, 4 wings, 6 wings. But the difference between fairies and other nature people, when you see them, is they tend to have an inner glow. So, we teach you in the books how to call them in, set up different areas of your garden, balcony, or even inside your house. They will come in, especially gnomes. And then how you know you're seeing a fairy is they will have an inner glow that comes out. So the ladies tend to have big, like hoop skirt type of clothes, very ravishing, beautiful, intricate, detailed, gossamer. Think gossamer. You know, like the ribbons you put on Christmas presents, that gossamer, beautiful. That's how you know it's fairies. Gorgeous, sparkly, like Tinkerbell, sparkly. And then inside of them is a glow that comes out, which is different than the other nature people. So when I wanted to see fairies, I did what they told us to do. Put a little thimble of milk out in the garden by the trees. They tend to be in the trees. Gnomes tend to be in the bushes. Elves type are very, they like to kind of hide, so they'll be behind tree trunks and they're harder to see because they protect the unicorns, which is a whole nother story. But basically, you put it outside in the garden if you have one. The great place to see nature people is, of course, where? out in nature, of course, but they will come into your homes, especially gnomes. Gnomes is the German word for house nature spirit. Everybody has 2 gnomes, whether they realize it or not. They help with our health. That is how they actually started us in the womb with minerals. They're earth nature people tied to minerals. But fairies, since you brought up that word fairies, they will be drawn to you if you give them gifts and things like that and show them you want to connect with them. With fairies, 5 minutes, guys. Once you start talking with them, they will talk with you all night. They love to communicate. And there are male fairies, but most of us think as female fairies, especially with Walt Disney, but there's male fairies too. Women tend to connect with fairies a little bit better. And when they said put the milk out for them, they're very specific. Dribble a little bit of honey around the rim of the milk. And a lot of people say, I did the milk and honey out for the fairies, and I did the cookies and the bread and the beer for the gnomes, and it was still there the next day. Just know they're taking the etheric counterpart of the milk and honey, totally taking in the essence of it. Sometimes you will see it gone the next day, but for the most part, that is how they are taking it in. And when you start gifting nature people, they're traders, meaning they like to trade. They want to give you back something. Most of the time, they are helping us in ways you cannot even believe. Whether it's attracting a soulmate, she just told me, getting problems at work solved, like your boss is on you, and out of nowhere, the boss is nice to you. That's like a gnome helping you. But anyways, they're helping us in so many ways. They said, if you only knew how much they are helping us, you would start crying. That is how much. But when you start gifting nature people, they're also going to want to give you back something. You don't do it for that reason, but like when they find you a parking spot out here in front of the hotel, that's a gnome. And they said a great gift for them would be copper. They're tied to the mineral copper, so leave them a copper penny, which is getting harder because they don't make them anymore. So they know that. They told us a long time ago those copper pennies are going to be valuable. So I used to leave them everywhere. After this show is over, I would usually leave a copper penny in the parking lot to thank the gnomes here for making the show go so nicely and smoothly. But you can gift them things. What do you guys think leprechauns like? Gold, yes, real gold. But that's crazy expensive now. So they say, if you have broken jewelry, or you have an earring and you can't find the other one, you can gift them the one earring that you have left, or the broken jewelry, or belts. They work with leather. Just know that you just really give it to them. Of course, gold would be fabulous. Or Jameson Irish whiskey. Just saying. This is in our books. But these are things that you can do to attract them to your garden, attract them to your home. Start to see them. They will make themselves visible to you, especially leprechauns. They are a little bit different than all the other nature people. They will come in more physical. So when you first see them, you're like, oh my gosh. So most of the time, though, they're not going to come in as dense as us. They're etheric, which is also known as our help aura, which is tied to the nature spirit realm, which is what they work with and help as well. But like in the medical class that we're doing, that is what we're working with. The ascended masters are also using their etheric energy to recreate themselves. They don't want to waste their time going through the incarnation period. That would be a huge waste of Mother Mary's time to go through that whole birthing process. Most of them just tell you, no, we just came back. Or Saint Germain, we just reappeared out of the forest as somebody else. So that's an example of working with etheric energy, working with nature people of that realm. Any questions? We have like 1 minute left. If you get a health scan with Dr. Von Lahr, what he does is get to the root cause of the health issue, solve it, and or heal you. Guess what happens when you tackle the root cause of the health issue? You guys know this. Your body heals itself. It is so excited that you finally got to the root cause. It's like, oh my gosh, you finally took care of this. I'm going to come online and fix everything else. Whereas the medical establishment, as great as they are, especially if you have to go to the emergency room, they will take care of you and save your life. But for the most part, if you see grandma and her nightstand, it's got 20 different prescriptions or more, that's a problem. Because now you're treating issue on issue on issue, possibly. I'm not a medical doctor, but really and truly, is that how our body is supposed to work? We keep adding on more prescriptions to handle the side effects of the other prescription? No. If we get to the root causes, which is what he does, and he looks into the body and goes and fixes those issues, or tells you with verbal and physical examples how to fix it yourself, your body gets so much healthier. That's something else that he can do. He also does legal issues. He also does past lives. He does mediumship, which is everybody today coming to the show is like, I don't want to do mediumship. I said, that's just a tiny thing that he does. If though, for example, somebody is standing behind you screaming to give you a message, he will of course do so. We have that in Palo Alto. Dad came in, she didn't ask him, but she actually really wanted to hear from her dad. So she's like, started crying because she didn't even tell him that that's what she wanted. And your crossed over family can, pick up on what you want too. So he gave her the message, and then he continued the reading. So mediumship is something else that he does. Anyways, if you have any questions or you're interested in a reading, come see me. I'm in the first booth here. If you have questions that we didn't get covered, come see me. If you're interested in class, come see me. If you didn't sign up to the newsletter, definitely do so. And Dr. Von Laar is going to do something extremely rare tomorrow. He has not spoken in many years because he's always completely booked. He's doing a special presentation tomorrow at 10 a.m. if you are here on how medical scans work, including for your animals. So definitely, if you feel like you're drawn to that, come by tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. And I think he's good to go on that. So definitely you can check in on that online as well. You'll see him listed. And thank you all so much for coming to see me. I appreciate it. Thank you. Wait, they cut that off right away. Whoever's watching, done.